My father had a thing about Sunday dinners. They were sacred. Non-negotiable. A ritual that masqueraded as tradition but felt more like obligation. No matter how far I traveled, no matter what deadline or crisis was unfolding at work, I was expected to show up at 6 p.m. sharp with a smile, a pie, and a pre-approved personality. Last Sunday was no different, at least, not at first. The roast was on the table. The wine was decanted. My mother wore pearls like it was the 1950s, and my younger brother Kevin was already 3 glasses deep, spouting off about his crypto portfolio like it hadn't crashed last quarter. My older sister Natalie was halfway through a story about her 3rd divorce, laughing like the punchline had anything to do with self-awareness. I sat quietly at the far end of the table, carving my chicken, listening. I was good at that, listening. Had been since I was a kid. No one in my family really talked to me, but they talked at me plenty. I was the background noise. The designated audience. The one who got straight A's and never made demands. The one who paid for things because Michael can afford it. The house we were sitting in. That was mine. Paid for, down to the last cent, by a decade of sleepless nights, skipped vacations, and 20-hour workdays. I bought it 2 years ago. Offered to let my parents live in it rent-free after their mortgage on the old place fell through. They accepted without asking a single question. Just moved in like it was a given. It became the family house the moment they unpacked. At first I let it go. My dad was pushing 70, and my mom liked the garden. But when my siblings started treating it like theirs, holding parties, using it as a drop-off for their kids, installing smart TVs and new fridges without permission, something in me started to curdle. But I said nothing. Because that's what I do. Until last Sunday. It happened in the middle of dinner, between the mashed potatoes and the second pour of Cabernet. My dad cleared his throat, that deep, rumbling noise he makes before dropping a statement he's already decided is law. He looked across the table at me, expression blank. "Leave your keys and get out," he said. The room went still. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't yell. He said it like he was asking me to pass the salt. Calm. Calculated. As if this wasn't an eviction, just a formality. "This house belongs to the family now," he added. "You've done enough. You can move on." My fork paused midair. Kevin snorted into his wine. Natalie smirked like it was overdue. I turned to my mother, searching her face for anything, confusion, protest, even surprise. She didn't blink. She just nodded. I should have said something. Demanded an explanation. Laughed. Thought. But I didn't. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the keys, house, garage, mailbox, and placed them gently on the polished oak table between the salt shaker and the butter dish. No one moved. I stood up, adjusted my sleeves, and said the only words I could trust to come out level. "Dinner was great." Then I walked out. My father didn't stop me. My mother didn't cry. My siblings didn't say a word. I didn't slam the door. I didn't look back. I drove to a small hotel near the river, checked in under my middle name, and stared at the ceiling for hours. Not in sadness. In calculation. Because what none of them knew, what none of them ever bothered to ask, was whose name was on the deed. What they really didn't know. That $890,000 worth of equity was scheduled to transfer, first thing Monday morning. The first night after they kicked me out of my own house, I didn't cry. I didn't even rage. I sat in a faded leather chair at a 3-star hotel and stared out at the parking lot below, coffee cooling in my hands, watching brake lights blink red in the rain like a heartbeat. I thought about the first day I saw the house, back when it was just a beat-up listing I couldn't really afford but knew I had to buy. Not because I needed it, but because they did. My parents were on the verge of losing their home at the time. Years of missed payments, bad refinancing deals, and a bad market that somehow never affected their luxury subscriptions and weekend getaways. My father called me one night, short and clipped, as always. "We might need a favor," he said, like he was ordering drive-through. They didn't ask me to buy a house. They just made it clear it would be nice if I stepped up. So I did. I found a property 30 minutes from their old place. 4 bedrooms, big yard, fireplace. The bones were good, but it needed work. I poured everything into it, time, money, every ounce of peace I'd scraped together in my 30s. The title? Mine. Sole ownership. I didn't even mention it to them when I signed the papers. I just moved them in and handed over a copy of the keys like a landlord who wanted to keep things simple. And for a while, it was. I let them decorate. Let them host. When Kevin lost his job, he moved into the basement suite. Just for a month. It turned into a year. When Natalie's second marriage crumbled, she used the spare room like a hotel. Left wine bottles in the sink. Claimed the Wi-Fi like it was a birthright. They never offered rent. Never asked permission. They acted like they were helping me keep the place full. Eventually, they started calling it the family home. Mom updated her Facebook to say, "Living in our forever house, blue heart. Dad told his friends they'd secured the family estate. Kevin joked about putting a hot tub in his wing. I said nothing. Because that's what I do. But I took notes. Logged repairs. Saved every receipt. Quietly refinanced. Quietly moved funds. Quietly transferred the equity to a trust, one that would, in precisely 11 hours, trigger a full withdrawal of remaining principal and close out the loan entirely. They had no idea. And the thing about legal ownership? It doesn't care about Sunday dinner. It cares about ink and paper. Back at the dinner table, hours earlier, my father had made his declaration like a king laying claim to land he never paid for. This house belongs to the family now. He said it like it was truth. Like my bank account had always been a family resource. Like my labor, my credit, my choices, were his inheritance. And my mother, of course, nodded along. She didn't even look at me. Just stared at her glass like it held the script she'd rehearsed. I thought about that moment as I sat on the bed with my laptop, staring at the final line of an email I'd scheduled a month earlier, one they would never have seen coming. Effective 9 a.m. Monday, per the terms of the equity reassignment, please finalize the transfer and notify the registered owner upon confirmation. Sign. Michael Grayson, trustee and owner. The next morning, the mortgage company would call my father. They'd ask for me. And when he told them, smugly, I bet, that I no longer lived there, they'd politely inform him that he never did. Not legally. Not financially. Not at all. The loan was paid. The title had moved. And ownership? Well, it was going somewhere they'd never reach again. At 8:59 a.m., I was sipping hotel coffee again, better than the night before, still burnt. I had already turned off my phone. Not silenced. Off. Because I knew what was coming. Somewhere across town, the house I'd bought, renovated, and surrendered for the illusion of peace stood just as it had for the last 2 years. Same bricks. Same porch swing. Same view of the hedges I planted myself. But everything underneath it had shifted. Because the $890,000 transfer had gone through at 7:47 a.m. That house was no longer mine. And it sure as hell wasn't theirs. Back at the house, my father answered the phone like he always did, sharp, annoyed, suspicious of any number that wasn't saved in his ancient flip phone. Grayson Residence. The voice on the other end was professional. Polite. Hello, I'm calling on behalf of Horizon Mortgage Services regarding property 1478 Oakview Lane. May I speak with Michael Grayson? My dad huffed. Michael doesn't live here anymore. Pause. The agent cleared their throat. I see. According to our records, he is the sole owner on the deed. We're calling to confirm transfer documentation and release of lien. My dad frowned. Transfer documentation? Yes, sir. The mortgage balance has been paid in full via trust execution. As of this morning, Mr. Grayson has finalized the dissolution of the ownership stake and updated the mailing address. We'll be issuing the release forms and closing the file today. Silence. Then, I think there's a mistake. Another pause. I'm sorry, sir. There's no mistake. The transaction was authorized weeks ago. We're just performing final courtesy confirmation. My mother, sitting across from him at the kitchen island, saw his expression shift, confusion first. Then denial. Then something deeper. What's wrong? She whispered. My father didn't answer. He was still holding the phone frozen. Because in that moment, reality hit like ice water down his spine. The house wasn't theirs. Kevin called me 12 times that morning. Each time from a different number. Natalie texted. What did you do? Dad's losing it. Then, Mom's crying. Call me back. Then, in all caps. You think this is funny? This is our home too. I watched the notifications rack up on my tablet from the hotel Wi-Fi, never opening them, just watching them multiply like roaches when the lights come on. A group text from my cousin popped up. Dude! What's going on? Your parents just posted on Facebook that you stole the house? That made me laugh. Stole the house. Right. Because paying the mortgage, insuring it, keeping the heat on, and not charging a dime for rent somehow qualified as theft now. By noon, they were calling my work. I had already warned my assistant to screen everything. By 2 p.m., the family group chat exploded. Natalie dropped this gem. You've always been selfish, Michael. Always. I knew letting you buy the house would blow up eventually. You never saw it as a family thing. Kevin followed up. This is bull. You're nothing without us. Just a guy with a house and no family now. Then my mother, ever the subtle one. I gave you life and this is how you repay us? It took all the strength in the world not to reply. But I didn't. I let silence do what words never could. That night, I turned my phone back on just long enough to send one text, not in the group chat, not to any sibling. Just to my father. The deed says what it says. I hit send. Then turned the phone off again. And booked a flight. By the time I landed in Seattle, I had 47 unread messages and 5 voicemails. Kevin was the first voice I heard when I checked them, slurred, angry, loud. You're not gonna get away with this. You think you can just take the house? That was supposed to be OURS. Click. The second was from Natalie. You're such a coward, Michael. Hiding behind paperwork and lawyers. This isn't over. You're not the only one with receipts. She always did love pretending she was in a courtroom drama. Then came the third, my mother. Her voice was cold, brittle. I don't know who you are anymore. Your father is humiliated. He won't leave the study. Your siblings are devastated. You've broken this family. For what? A house? A pause. We thought you understood what family meant. I didn't bother listening to the last two. I knew exactly what they said, because it was the same thing they'd been saying for years, just dressed in different clothing. Guilt is their native language. I walked through Pike Place with a coffee in one hand and my silence in the other. For the first time in years, I wasn't checking prices or bank balances. I wasn't on call for a broken sink in a house I didn't live in. I wasn't wondering if someone had borrowed my credit card again. And in the quiet, something rose to the surface, memories. The kind I'd buried for years under politeness and family loyalty. Like the time Kevin crashed my car during a weekend party and I paid for the repairs, and the DUI lawyer, just so Dad wouldn't blow a fuse. Or when Natalie maxed out a credit card I let her use. For emergencies. Buying designer handbags because life was stressful. My mother called it retail therapy. I called it theft. There was the Christmas I covered everyone's gifts and Christmas dinner because Mom said it was a hard year. They all unwrapped things I bought. Not one said thank you. And still, I gave. Because it was easier to write a check than start a fight. Because I was taught that peace was more important than self-respect. Because every time I said no, they called me cold. And every time I said yes, they called me useful. The house was just the final act. A 2-year monument to a lifetime of erasure. They moved into my space, claimed it, renamed it. Never once asked about the mortgage. Never once asked what I wanted. I remember one time, just once, mentioning I might sell someday. Just casually, over dinner. Natalie laughed in my face. "You can't sell our house," Kevin chimed in. "We'd vote you out." And my dad, stone-faced, said, "That house is part of the family legacy now. Don't go making selfish decisions." Selfish. Right. That night, I sat in my hotel room overlooking the harbor and opened an email from my lawyer. Subject line: transfer finalized. Deed dissolved. Legal ownership closed. Below it, a short message from Daniel. "Congratulations. Everything's airtight. And by the way, excellent move timing it after the trust matured, very poetic. Let me know if they come sniffing around for a buyback." They wouldn't. Because none of them had savings. They'd never needed to. I was the savings. The next morning, Natalie posted on Facebook. A long rant. Public. "Some people pretend to be family but are really just snakes in suits. My brother just stole our family home after everything we've done for him. We're heartbroken. We trusted him. We lived there. We built memories. And now we're being evicted like strangers." She dropped a picture of the backyard with a crying emoji. Got 143 likes in 2 hours. Comments like, "You don't deserve this broken heart. He always seemed weird tbh. Family is supposed to protect you, not destroy you." I didn't reply. But I did forward it all to Daniel, along with every document showing they never paid a dime in rent, utilities, maintenance, or taxes. He replied with one sentence. "Let's keep building the folder." The email came at 10:42 a.m. on Wednesday. Subject: cease and desist notice, unauthorized occupancy and defamation. It wasn't addressed to me. It was forwarded from my lawyer, Daniel. And it was written with the kind of cold precision that only comes from someone who graduated top of their class and learned how to weaponize politeness. I almost felt bad for them. Almost. 2 hours later, Kevin called again. This time from an unknown number. Probably a burner phone or someone else's line. I didn't pick up. He left a voicemail. "Michael, you've lost your damn mind. A lawyer? Really? You couldn't just talk to us like a man? You think this is over? We're not just gonna roll over while you throw us out like garbage." I played it back once. Then hit save. An hour later, Natalie sent a text. "So now you're threatening us with eviction? Is that the big plan? You think that's gonna make people respect you? You've become one of those people. Cold. Paranoid. Alone." Then a follow-up. "Your lawyer just sent us a letter. Is this a joke?" I didn't respond. Instead, I sent Daniel a quick note. "They're rattled. And still pretending to be victims. What's our next move?" His reply was immediate. "If they don't vacate voluntarily by next Monday, we'll file for formal removal. Their lease is non-existent. Their legal standing is zero. Your case is clean. Want to proceed?" I stared at the message for a long time. Then typed one word. Proceed. That night, I sat in a rented condo with hardwood floors and no framed photos on the walls, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Stillness. It was strange at first. No TV blaring in the background. No Kevin banging down the basement door at 2 a.m. asking if I had beer. No Natalie sobbing about her latest failed relationship, demanding I cook dinner while she recovered. Just silence. It wasn't lonely. It was mine. On Thursday, my mother sent me a handwritten letter. Yes. A physical letter. Inside a lavender envelope, sealed with the kind of scented stickers she used on birthday cards when I was a kid. The note read, "Dear Michael, I don't recognize who you've become. This coldness. The threats. The silence. It's not the boy I raised. You are hurting your family. Your father is devastated. Kevin can't sleep. Natalie is crying every night. Is this really worth it? We thought we raised a giver. Please reconsider before you do something you'll regret for the rest of your life. Love. Mom. No apology. No ownership. Just manipulation, coated in nostalgia. I slid the letter into the same folder as the rest of the evidence. It was getting thick now. Printouts of unpaid bills. Screenshots of texts. The photo of the Facebook post claiming I stole the house, with comments from people I hadn't seen since high school calling me a disgrace. Daniel was compiling everything. Not for court. Not yet. But just in case. Because people like my family? They don't stop when you ask nicely. They stop when they hit a wall they can't climb. Friday morning, I received one last message. This time, from Kevin again. You win, man. Congrats. You broke the family. Hope your new house makes you real happy. Don't bother showing up to Dad's 70th. I read it once. Then once more. And for the first time since that Sunday dinner, I smiled. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't the quiet one. I was the one they couldn't control. It was Monday morning when the papers were served. Daniel sent me a picture, 3 printed notices taped neatly to the front door of 1478 Oakview Lane. One for each of them, Kevin, Natalie, and my parents. The heading was blunt. Notice to vacate, non-tenant occupants. Beneath it, per legal statute 47.8.3-1, and under advice of counsel, you are hereby instructed to vacate the property within 5 business days or face legal removal procedures. No sugar. No compromise. Just the law. Kevin texted me first. This is serious now. We're getting kicked out. You really filed this? I didn't respond. Natalie followed. Don't do this. We don't have anywhere to go. You want to throw your family into the street? Again, no reply. Then the inevitable happened. My mother called. I let it ring 4 times before pressing accept. Her voice was thin, frantic. Michael, sweetheart, please. Let's talk. Your father isn't well. This is going too far. I didn't speak. We raised you better than this. She continued. You're not a cruel person. You're just hurt. But hurting us back won't heal you. She paused, waiting for a reply. I gave her 5 seconds of silence before I said, I gave you years. You took everything. Now I'm taking it back. But this is your family. No, I said. It's not. Not anymore. And I hung up. By Tuesday, the desperation turned theatrical. Natalie posted another Facebook status. Karma hits hard. Pray for our family. Being pushed out of our home by someone who used to be our brother. We don't know what we'll do. Broken heart. It got 212 reactions. Kevin made an Instagram story, pacing in the driveway, caption. So this is what betrayal looks like. Aunt Marla, who hadn't spoken to me since I was 14, DM'd me to say, I hope you're happy. I forwarded it all to Daniel. He replied, let the circus perform. We've got front row seats and bulletproof glass. On Wednesday, the emails started. Not from my family, from people I hadn't heard from in years. Old classmates. Former coworkers. Even my ex. They had all seen the drama unfold online. And they all said the same thing, in different words. I didn't know what you were dealing with. I'm proud of you. Funny how truth works, loud when it's whispered, silent when it's shouted. Thursday afternoon, I drove past the house. Didn't stop. Didn't roll down the window. But I saw the chaos through the windshield, boxes stacked unevenly, Kevin's truck open and half full, Natalie on the porch pacing with her phone, my mother sitting in a folding chair looking hollow. My father wasn't outside. Good. Because if he had been, I might have pulled over. And I wasn't in the mood for last words. Friday, Daniel sent me a final update. As of 4:37 p.m., property is legally vacated. No damages reported. Keys returned. Lock changed. Just like that. It was over. I spent that night alone in my new apartment, a few cities away, high floor, clean counters, no ghosts in the walls. I made dinner for one. Ate in silence. Poured a glass of wine and opened my laptop. I didn't check social media. Didn't call anyone. Instead, I wrote a simple email draft to myself. 1 year from now, you'll be even further. You chose peace. Never go back. And hit save. The message came on a Sunday, fitting, really. From my father's number. Simple. Let's talk. One last dinner. Just you and me. No speeches. No tricks. No punctuation. Just like him. I didn't reply immediately. I let it sit for a day, like a cold cup of coffee on the counter. Then, curiosity got the better of me. Or maybe it wasn't curiosity. Maybe I just wanted to look him in the eye when I told him the truth. We met at a steakhouse he used to rave about, the kind with cloth napkins and waiters who call you sir, even when you're wearing a hoodie. He was already seated when I arrived. Wearing that old navy blazer he used to save for important things. Like he thought this was a negotiation. I sat across from him without a word. He stared at me like he was trying to find something he'd lost. Something that never really existed. I wanted to see you face to face, he said, cutting straight to it. I don't think this is how it had to end. I stayed quiet. Let him talk. You blindsided us, he continued. This wasn't just a house, you know. It was where we. He caught himself, swallowed. Where we all lived. As a family. I set down my water. Yeah, I said. As a family. One that lived in my house. For free. Without thanks. And then tried to kick me out of it. He looked away. I didn't mean it like that. That night. I lost my temper. I raised an eyebrow. You coordinated it, Dad. Everyone was in on it. He didn't deny it. Just sighed. Your mother thought if we pushed you, you'd finally stop acting like everything was yours. It was mine. I know, he said quickly. I know that now. We sat in silence as the waiter approached. Neither of us ordered. My dad fiddled with the silverware. I messed up, he said. It was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever heard from him. But you could have come to us first. Talked it through. I laughed, low and bitter. I tried for years. You just never listened. Because you never believed I'd actually do something. He flinched, but didn't argue. I'm not here for forgiveness. I continued. I'm not here to fix anything. I just want to make something clear. He looked up, eyes tired. This wasn't revenge, I said. This was protection. I let you all take from me for too long. And when I finally said no, you didn't just get upset. You tried to erase me. You tried to remove me from my own life. He opened his mouth to speak, then shut it. Good. Because I wasn't finished. I gave you a home, I said. Not just walls and a roof. I gave you security. And you turned it into leverage. You made it a weapon. You thought because I was quiet, I was weak. I leaned forward slightly. I'm not. The silence stretched. Finally, my father nodded once. Maybe it was acceptance. Maybe it was resignation. Maybe it was the first honest thing he'd done in years. He slid his napkin off his lap, set it on the table, and stood. You won, he said softly. I shook my head. No. I survived. As he walked away, I realized something strange. I didn't feel angry anymore. Not proud. Not vindicated. Just free. Like I'd finally stopped dragging a weight I didn't even know I was carrying. And now? There was only one thing left to do. 3 months later, I moved into my new home. No drama. No ceremony. Just a set of keys, a signature, and a door that only I had the code to. It wasn't as big as the last one. Didn't need to be. No one else would be living here. There were no sibling squatters claiming, temporary, rooms. No parents deciding which wall needed new paint. No arguments about who left the garage door open or drank the last of the milk. Just quiet. Intentional quiet. My office window faced the trees. My books lined the shelves exactly the way I liked. The fridge was always stocked with what I wanted. And every piece of furniture was chosen by me, not inherited or negotiated. Every inch of it screamed one thing. Mine. I got a voicemail last week. Blocked number. It was my mother. Her voice was low, hoarse. I don't know if you'll even listen to this. We're okay. Staying with Natalie for now. She's having a hard time. Kevin's looking for a place. A pause. Your father doesn't say much these days. Just sits in the garage with his tools. Another pause. I hope you're happy. Click. No apology. Just the usual final jab wrapped in soft tones. I didn't call back. Didn't even flinch. Instead, I poured myself a drink, stepped out onto the back deck, and looked up at the stars. It was the same sky I'd grown up under, but now, it didn't feel like it was pressing down on me. It felt wide open. A friend came over the next day. He hadn't seen me in over a year. Dude, he said, stepping inside and looking around. You built a whole new life. I smiled. Yeah, I said. I left quietly. But I built loudly. That phrase stuck with me. Because that's the thing about people like them. They expect the explosion. The breakdown. The tantrum. What they never expect is silence. Legal silence. Financial silence. Boundary-setting silence. They expect you to scream. They never expect you to walk away, and never look back. People still talk. I see the comments sometimes. Old neighbors whispering, extended relatives choosing sides. Some think I was cold. Some think I was brave. I don't care anymore. Because for once in my life, I'm not carrying everyone else's weight. I'm not proving anything. I'm just living. And that's enough. I placed a small plaque next to the front door of my new place. It doesn't say, welcome, or my last name. It just says, paid in full. Let them read it if they ever come looking. Let them see what peace actually costs.